Hi everybody, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf. A few weeks ago I did a video that was a very natural, fresh, glowy, youthful look. Today I am going to emulate that video, but I'm only going to use affordable products. So we're going to get straight into it. If you are new here, hi, my name's Gemma. I upload videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 PM London time. And I'm also on Instagram if you fancy checking me out over there. It's at Pampered Wolf, all lowercase, no spaces. I would really appreciate it if by the end of this video you like what you see, you click the thumbs up button, you also hit the subscribe button and also that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. So I have already done my hair and once again got hairs all over my jumper. I won't learn. And by the way, the thumbnail, I got a lot of comments on the thumbnail for the last video saying that it looked like a mugshot. Seriously, I don't take offense about that. That is exactly what I look like first thing in the morning. Wes married seriously badly, bless him. That's what he has to look at first thing in the morning when I open my eyes and go, ugh. Anyway, let's crack on. I'm going to go straight into base. Gosh, making my eyes water. It really is that bad. So the base that I'm going to be using today is the Revlon Colourstay in the normal to dry. And this is in the shade Nude. Just going to pump a little bit of this onto the back of my hand. And then apply some of this to my face. Now, I absolutely adore this foundation. It's an oldie but a goodie. It's absolutely fantastic. Be very careful, if you have dry skin, be very careful that you get the correct foundation because they also do this in a version for normal to oily skin. You do not want that one. Believe me, you really do not want that one. So I'm just going to start applying this to my skin. It applies so beautifully, effortlessly, blends out really nicely. It's just lovely. Really, really nice. Doesn't cling to my dry spots either, which is also a bonus. And it wears really well throughout the day. Now this does have a fragrance, so if you are sensitive to fragrance, you are going to have to give this one a miss. But if you can get away with it, go out and try it. It's a really, really lovely foundation. If you've not tried this already, I highly recommend it. So I'm going to apply some to my eyelids with a concealer buffing brush. This brush is actually from a company called Brush Junkie, who unfortunately have been one of the casualties in the whole COVID situation. I'm absolutely gutted. So I'm just going to take a blending sponge and just build this up in the areas that I feel I need a little bit more coverage. I like the fact that the skin still pokes through with this, but you can get a medium coverage with this foundation quite easily. So the foundation that I've gone for is a relatively good match for me. It's the closest match within the Revlon range that I can get, but it is slightly too warm. So if you're my foundation twin, you need to bear that in mind. Everything that's listed in the description box for my foundation matches are my closest matches within that range. It doesn't mean that they are completely spot on. It means that that's the best match I can get within that range. Next up is my Maybelline Instant Age Eraser. This is in the shade Brightener and it's a great product. And I'm just going to pop that where I need a little bit of coverage from my under eye circles, which are screaming this morning. Screaming. I'm going to take my brush and I'm just patting that in place and then dabbing it over to the outer corner of my eye where I've also got a little bit of discoloration. So that's covered up the under eye circles. I'm then going to go in with my actual shade of concealer, which is 00 Ivory. Actually, my actual shade of this concealer is in between light and ivory. So we'll see how this goes on. I may have to add a little bit of the light over the top, but we'll see. So then I'm just going to pop this on. Yeah, I may have to add a little bit of light in with this, but we'll see. And then I'm going to go in with my blending sponge, which is damp, and just blend that out. Just going to add a little bit of the shade Light over the top because it is looking a little bit too pale. So I'm just going to blend that in. That's a little better. Don't want to go too light, otherwise you start to look a bit ashy. So I'm going to leave that to start drying down underneath my eyes. I'm not going to set that in place while it's still slightly damp. And I'm going to go on to my eyebrows. And you've seen me do this lots and lots of times before. I am going to be using my NYX Microbrow pencil in the shade Ash Brown. I love this stuff. Honestly, if I had £1 for every time I use this product in one of my videos, I would be quite well off right now. So just brushing through my brows with the spoolie, and I'm going to go in from the front right down at the bottom. And I'm just going to start to fill in from the bottom and flick that up. That way I find it's not going to look boxy. You're not going to go all the way to the top. You're going to use the spoolie to spread that out in just a minute. Now I am allowing my brows to grow back after a rather lengthy tweezing incident that I filled you in on in the last video. So I do have the odd 1 or 2 hairs that don't belong, but I am not picking up the tweezers just yet. So I'm just filling these in really quite roughly, just like I did in the last video. And then once I've filled that in, I just take the spoolie and just distribute that evenly so there are no patches. And then once I've done that, you can go back in and fill in the gaps. So once I've done both brows, I'm going to take the NYX Bear With Me Brow Setter, and I'm just going to brush through my brows with this and just set everything in place. So once that's done, I'm just going to go under my eyes again to make sure I haven't got any more excess product underneath my eyes and everything is perfectly smoothed out before I set that in place. And then I'm going to take some e.l.f. Halo setting powder. This is great stuff and it's got a tiny bit of a sheen to it, so it will also reflect the light a little bit. Gonna add a little bit on my blending sponge and just pat that underneath my eye where I've got the concealer. This is super smooth, really, really smooth. I'm just going to add a little bit of that powder on my eyelids as well, just to make sure that the foundation that I've applied to my eyelids doesn't crease in my little eyelid folds all day, because I absolutely hate it when that happens. Then I'm going to curl my eyelashes a little bit. My eyelashes have stopped falling out. For anybody that's interested, I got so many messages. Thank you so much for everyone's concern. It's just how stress affects me. I tend to lose my hair and I lose my eyelashes as well, but they have stopped falling out, so, you know, it's not super noticeable. And then I'm going to apply some NYX On The Rise Volume Lift Mascara. This is my favourite affordable mascara. You have to bear with this because it can look a little bit clumpy. There are bits of the mascara that will fall onto the lashes. But if you keep on brushing it through with the wand, those will disappear and just leave really lovely, lifted, volumized lashes. And this is one of those mascaras that also gets better with age. So if you used it once and you found that you didn't like it, get it out of the drawer again and give it another go, because definitely one of my favorites. So I'm going to add a little bit of bronzer. This is the Maybelline City Bronzer, again in the shade 200, which is medium cool. This is my favourite bronzer, including all of the bronzers that I have that are seriously pricey and very high end. This is the one that I always go back to because, you know, it's not orange on my skin, it's not too deep for my skin, although I can build it up and get away with wearing this in the summer as well as in the winter. So if you are fair, like I am, definitely give this one a go if you don't want something too orangey. This is definitely worth a try. And you know, if you don't like it, send it to me. I don't have a spare. So I'm just really popping this around the perimeter of my face. I'm not going overly over the top today because I want a very, very natural look. I just want it to look a little bit glowier. So I'm going to go in with a bit of the NYX Illuminating Powder in just a second, just to bring everything to life. So I'm going to go in with the High Glass Illuminating Powder from NYX, just with my finger. This is extremely buttery and smooth. And I'm just going to go on the top of my cheekbone there and just really blend that in with my finger. And then I'm going to pop a little bit at the top of my brow as well. And then some down the bridge of my nose and just on the tip. So I'm just going to pop a little bit more on with a brush because it was slightly clinging to my skin when I was applying it with my fingers, which has never happened before. I always apply this with my fingers, but for some reason, maybe because I've not powdered my forehead down, this is slightly clinging to my skin when I apply it with my fingers. So change of tactics. Now I'm not going to do my Cupid's bow because for some reason that is quite an oily area of my face and tends to shine anyway. So I'm not going to go anywhere near my Cupid's bow with the illuminating powder. So even though the foundation isn't really a glowy foundation, it's one of those foundations with great longevity throughout the day. You can completely make it a glowy foundation by just adding a little bit of this subtle illuminating powder over the top. Just in those certain areas, it just looks really youthful and glowy and very girly. We're almost at the end. I'm going to go into this Beauty Pie Supercheek Cream Blush. This is in the shade Bare Blush, and I know this featured in my Faves and Fails video. It's absolutely stunning. A lot of people were messaging me saying that certain shades, in fact the 2 shades that I actually spoke about, weren't available on the Beauty Pie website. Well, I think they are probably just out of stock, so they've removed them from the shades that you can actually see, because I know they're available because I bought them. So, I mean, they definitely will be available in the future. Just keep your eye on the website because they do tend to restock quite often. Just such beautiful, glowy product. Really, really lovely. I think I actually prefer this to the Charlotte Tilbury cream blush, which cost an absolute fortune. So I always go on right at the top, right around the eye contour, just take it a little bit higher than normal. And I also add a little bit underneath the brow bone. I just feel like It's such a pretty, pretty look. You just need to be careful not to apply too much, which, you know, I think I just have done. It's such a beautiful product and it's going nowhere. Believe me, once you apply it, it's going nowhere. It's really, really pretty and girly, and I feel like that slight sheen on the cheek can really make your cheeks look fuller without filler. To finish off this look, I'm just going to add a coat of Revlon's Super Lustrous The Gloss in the shade 215, which is Super Natural. So I'm not going to do an outline, I'm not going to add any lip liner. Just really, really pretty. It just adds that hint of colour, and it's not too glossy, it's not overly glossy, it's that nice in-between gloss because it doesn't have any sparkle in this whatsoever. And it's really comfortable to wear and not too sticky. I wouldn't say it was not sticky at all, but I definitely wouldn't say it has a sticky feel. So that's it. Really quick, really simple, really straightforward, beautiful, glowy, girly, youthful look. All affordable. Hope you've enjoyed this video and hope to see you all in the next one. Bye everyone.